Antonio Brown case, right? I'm not upset with him at all. I actually think that's a pretty normal behavior. We are talking about, and I always say this when it comes to these guys, and this is why I love football because it gives you. I wish I can play. I wish I had the skills to play because it reminds me like sometimes you just want to hit something and hurt something. These guys are dangerous people. Okay, what is defined as mental illness? Mental illness are health conditions involving changes in emotions, thinking, or behavior. Mental illness are associated with distress and or problems functioning in social, work, or family activities. Mental illness is common. What do you think about that?
That explanation makes it a little. It seems to water it down a little bit. First with the common, but I guess that's why you get like mental health days. Some people take mental health days at work. Maybe the stress at work can lead to a mental breakdown.
Right.
So I guess it can be triggered. I guess so. They're saying like it can be triggered in anybody. That's basically what it's saying.
Right. But
like if you're not born with it, it can be triggered at any point in life.
The problem is you can't. The problem is once you open that gate, now everybody's going to be claiming the mental disorder, just like everything else we do in America. We open that gate up, man. You start, and it's already open, I believe, too. Like people can't really bother you as soon as you cry mental health and stuff like that. I wouldn't say cry, but as soon as you claim mental health. But there are people that probably really do struggle with mental health.
You know what? I guess it looks different for different people.
Right.
Maybe you can interpret what you feel is your mental illness as far as that's concerned. I mean, because like look at what's our tackle?
Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson.
Look. He had mental. He had to take some mental time because he was having that issue. And then so that looked different in his case and how that was handled versus you look at how, let's say, in Antonio Brown, how his mental illness is reflected in how that's handled. Two cats in the NFL, both with mental health issues.
Right.
I guess you call it mental health issues, not mental illness. I think it's called mental health issues.
Mental health issues. Okay. So see, once again, we got to be correct, just to make sure. Nobody gets offended or whatever.
I think like mental illness, like when you say mental illness versus mental health issue, when you say mental illness, to me, I think of maybe like schizophrenia, something like that. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, they got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, it's levels to this?
Yeah, let's say 5 different types. Okay. Anxiety disorders. That's one. Mood disorders.
Okay.
Psychotic disorders, which would be personality disorders.
There we go.
Dementia, which actually runs in my family, and eating disorder. I didn't know eating disorder was a mental health issue.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
they slid that up in there. They slid that. They slid that up at the bottom.
I tell you what. When I saw dementia,
that last one in the bottom.
When I see dementia on there, I'm like, man, that runs in my family, man. And who knows when that starts? That's just that's a breakdown over time, right?
That's a degradation of, I guess, like brain matter. Like it starts just deteriorating over time, creating gaps in the synapses and whatnot.
That's why I got to make as much money as possible. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you good later on.
Yeah. So I got to be able to take care of.
Like to me, those things right there, like what we was just talking about, sounds like mental illness.
Right.
Nowadays, the term mental health is what they're gonna attribute to, like you stressed that work so you came up and shot everybody up.
Right. Let me tell you something. I recently told somebody or shared something with somebody that I never really shared before. Like little things I used to do when I was growing up, and I let them listen to some of my music that I listened to, and they just said, like, in a serious way, like, damn, bro, it's pretty depressing. I'm like, damn. In my head, I was like, damn, is that what that is? Whereas, your family or people in the community or the culture will call you a big brat and say those things. And that's why I wouldn't say I completely turned my back, but I don't listen to people, man, because I knew these things were like real prevalent a long time ago. I can never talk about it. I can never speak about it, but I know I myself, there were things that I would just struggle with. I don't know what they were. I fight through a lot of different things, a lot of different issues. Maybe some of these on here, but I fight through it and I can articulate it. Whereas some people, they can't. And maybe that's the reason why it becomes a bigger issue, because at sometimes when you can say like, all right, you know what, that way I was just acting right there. That was kind of like, that was psychotic right there. That was on me. That's definitely that's not the norm. People don't accept that.
I don't know.
That was crazy. So when you're aware of it, can you claim it?
When you're aware of it that way, I don't know if it works that way. Can you?
So how does it work? If you know you did something wrong, but you still did it.
Hey, I was psychotic in that moment, but I'm good because I know I was psychotic and I ain't gonna do it no more. Like I don't know if that classifies.
Yeah. I like the way you put that on it.
That's how you saying it.
But yeah,
I think when you say psychotic, I think that's they take an X-ray of your brain, bro. It's all weird looking. Like I think that's something that's you can't just turn off. Even though you acknowledge it, you still can't turn it off.
Even in the Antonio Brown case, right? I'm not upset with him at all. I actually think that's a pretty normal behavior. We are talking about, and I always say this when it comes to these guys, and this is why I love football, because I wish I can play. I wish I had the skills to play, because it reminds me, like, sometimes you just want to hit something and hurt something. These guys are dangerous people. Like, the more dangerous you are, the better. The more crazy you are, the better. The more psychotic you are, the better. So we can't ignore that we're talking about football. This is not a basketball player doing that. Like, we're talking about football. This is a tough sport. You get hit. There are collisions every day. Like, we gotta acknowledge that. So I look at the Antonio Brown situation, like, I don't like people like ridiculing him too much, man. I don't care how much money he makes. Like, and that's another thing. We judge everything on how much money somebody makes and how they're supposed to act. That doesn't mean anything.
Hey, yo, hold on that. Yeah.
Real quick. Even when the court penalizes you for different things, they don't take the in consideration how much money you make. It is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Across the board. But when we try to justify things for people and that we equate how much money they make to what they do. You know what I mean?
What?
Issues are issues.
Well,
and most of them have issues.
Part, I don't know about, because I'm a little judgy on that last part. Like, if you have the means, then yeah, I'm judging you because you didn't. If you have the means and you didn't take the proper steps to seek help for whatever your issue is, I'm judging, because now that's not cool. That's not cool, bro. Because everybody doesn't have the means in order to seek help. So if you have the means and you choose not to seek help, and you identify you have an issue, then shame on you, bro. Don't spill that on nobody else.
He seeked help out.
But so then, okay, so no. I'm not even talking about him. I'm just talking about
just in general. Okay.
Who have an issue and have means to seek help for that issue and just says, I'll figure it out. Then I don't have no sympathy for you. But for Antonio Brown, yeah, like I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I mean, he walked off the field. I mean, as if you're a teammate or your owner in the organization, I'm pissed at the action. But it's known that he struggled with mental illness or mental health issues in the past. But the question is, I don't think he came in the league with those issues, though, right? Like, he's made it to the top 1% of the 1% in his position. You dig what I'm saying? So
I actually believe
it takes a lot of
look, man. I love football. I love football. I love watching football, man. I love football. But I think because it's a barbaric sport, they all have issues. They all coming in with issues.
Check this out, though. So let me put this on the table.
Just putting your body through that is an issue.
Look, check this out. Someone put this on the table. Look at it I'm gonna muddy the water a little bit. We both come from areas and neighborhoods where they had a lot of rough individuals with bad tempers. Are those one and the same person? Those people in our areas who if you just looked at wrong wound up wanting to scrap and put you through a window. Is that person and Antonio Brown the same person? Is that person in our neighborhoods? Did all those people have mental illness because they couldn't control their anger? Is it the same?
Yeah, because they grew up in environments. They grew up in environments where you couldn't express those things. You can't. Back in the day, you weren't talking about mental issues, man. You couldn't. You could, man. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody. But there are people out there that couldn't talk to their parents about certain things. You couldn't express those things. You know, that was told to be kept to the side. What do you mean you feeling some type of way, emotional? You know, that's for girls. We don't talk about that. What are you talking about? Toughen up. And then what happens? You become a tough ass football player. That's excellent. That's skilled, but you never got over small, deep-rooted issues because you can never talk them through or talk about them.
So again, whose fault is that?
I think putting fault on things, like in this situation, it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg type situation.
Okay,
like you could just keep going way down the line and just use the fault and just keep pushing the fault down the line. You know what I mean?
I think definitely in this case, because nobody was hurt, nobody was harmed. You know what I mean? It's he hurt himself as far as financially. So yeah, it's a wash. So it really doesn't do anyone any good to say who was at fault and what. So fine. I'm talking about everyone else who doesn't have money and their anger was taken out on someone else. You dig what I'm saying? No one takes the time out to say, we might have mental issues. Like maybe we shouldn't. So does acknowledging the mental illness, that mental health issues affect the punishment for someone who's having these issues and affect someone else?
No, I just think like no harm, no foul. What did he do wrong?
Okay.
I mean, he threw merchandise into the stands.
So do you think like Odell Beckham has mental health issues as well?
Nah, man, no. These guys are great people, man. They play a tough sport. This sport is car crashes and collisions every single time. Like I think all their behavior is, do I say normal, justified or can be followed? You can trace and track their behavior. It's the reason why they're the athletes that they are today. Like this is normal behavior. I loved it. I love what I saw. He didn't do anything wrong. I loved it. So you saw how crazy he was.
So then if that's the case though, why don't we see the same carryover from hockey athletes or rugby athletes? You know what? These cats.
I don't watch hockey. I don't follow hockey, but I bet you if I dug deep enough, those guys are animals too.
Okay.
If I dug deep enough, like I said, you know, we happen just to see that. Like these players, I'm sure have so much things that are covered up. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
Talking about having your money cover things up. That's probably where the stuff is used. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure, man. I'm pretty sure. Right. We're talking about athletes, man. We're talking about athletes. Just think about the athletes in school. Were they all like goody two shoes? Are you kidding me? It's what made them great. If somebody's a bully in school and that bully happened to be 6'5", 360, and he's on your offensive line, that's great. Oh man, I'm happy. Yeah. And he's punking the rest of the guys on the other team. I love it. But then when that same guy says something about one of the guys in your locker room and has that person feeling bad because he has mental health issues, then it's a problem. You see what I'm saying? It's a give and take with these guys. These they're equivalent to me to like with respect because they're human beings, but they're like wild animals in this sport. Are you gonna get mad at a wild animal for doing some wild shit?
And then you start punching them in the head.
Come on.
So I guess and along with all that funny CTE stuff that goes on in the NFL nowadays, combined with someone who might have already been struggling with some type of mental health issue, It is what it is. No judgment. I guess. So I guess the verdict comes down to just no judgment.
No judgment. No
Nobody was
judgment.
harmed.
No
It's his
judgment.
money.
Still one of my favorite players. I hope he comes back. I hope he comes back.
Ooh, you can come back to Philly. I told you.
We take everybody.
We take everybody on the redemption tour.